All eyes are on Congress this week as we're just days away from a potential government shutdown. Over the weekend, House Republicans unveiled a plan to fund the government through September, but Democratic leaders slammed the measure. They say recklessly cuts domestic spending programs. We go to Michael Yoshida now, who joins us live from Washington with the latest on this high-stakes showdown. Good afternoon, Michael.
Hey, good afternoon, Alex. Republicans say this new spending bill would allow them more time to codify spending cuts made by Elon Musk and Doge, while Democrats argue this new legislation does little to protect things like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
Congress facing a Friday night deadline to fund the government. House Speaker Mike Johnson's plan, released over the weekend, avoids a shutdown, pushing the issue further down the road. It calls for funding the government through September 30th, includes a $6 billion increase in defense spending, $13 billion in cuts to domestic spending, as well as money to support pieces of President Trump's agenda, including funds to help carry out additional ICE deportations.
There's only positive increases in spending. We're talking about our veterans' health programs, increasing military pay for our young men and women who put their lives on the line.
While Republicans say the bill makes no partisan policy changes from the stopgap bill passed in December, many Democrats are not on board.
Billions of dollars of cuts, also turning over some of this appropriations for agencies as slush funds for Elon Musk and Donald Trump to do as they will with this federal funding.
President Trump has endorsed the bill, and the House is expected to hold a vote as early as Tuesday. But with a razor-thin majority and at least one GOP rep expected to vote against the bill, House Republicans can't afford any more defections if Democrats unite in opposition.
It's going to be a tight vote. I don't think we're going to get many Democrats. I hope we do, because we don't want a government shutdown.
Over in the Senate, the math and political calculus gets even harder, where the bill can be filibustered. So even with all 53 Republicans voting in favor of the spending bill, 7 Democrats would still be needed for it to pass and avoid a shutdown.
And we are told that House Speaker Mike Johnson is planning to hold a House vote on this potential spending bill tomorrow. Alex?
Now, Michael, we've discussed this topic time and time again, and if a government shutdown does happen, what will and won't be impacted?
Yeah, it seems like we talk about this every time we approach one of these potential shutdowns, but this really comes down to each individual federal agency. They have their own plan, and it breaks down by what's considered essential and non-essential. So some federal employees, they would be furloughed. Others, those essential ones, they would work but not receive pay. So the FBI, Border Patrol, Coast Guard, TSA at the airports, those would continue to be operational and working. Other things such as national parks, monuments, even some court proceedings, some civil court proceedings, those would pause and close during a shutdown. Also important to note, as we always do, that recipients of both Social Security as well as Medicare, they would continue to receive those benefits. But again, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of potential federal employees, many Americans impacted by some of these services and agencies shutting down potentially. A lot to keep an eye on this week as both parties figure out where to stand their ground and where to compromise during this budget battle here in Washington.
A lot to keep an eye on indeed, Michael. We thank you for keeping us up to date.